There's something that's been on my mind for a few months now, and it's hype. Hype is generally considered something bad. As consumers, we don't want to buy products that are overhyped. We don't want to consume media that's overhyped. Social media tends to hype up things when things get viral. But I also work with a lot of scientists, researchers, product creators who are very anti-hype. You go to a scientific conference, they hate hype over there. And I was looking at LinkedIn actually. Back in the day, we had a lot of people with the title evangelist, and I want to see if it's still there. And it is. When you go on LinkedIn, if you search for titles with evangelist, you find a lot of positions. So people still feel that there's a need for this type of job. And evangelist is pretty much a person who is hired to hype up the company's story, to create interest in the products and services of this company, not directly to sell them, but to link them to a larger context and to bring deeper meaning into this. And by the way, I'm not a fan of the title evangelist because it sounds very Christian, and why would you bring religion into any of this? But I think it's a job that is worth doing. I think it's an important job. So hyping a technology is considered bad. You talk about hype versus reality, hype bubble, escaping the hype, and so on. So we think hype is bad and facts are good. But what is hype? Is it really the opposite of truth? I understand that researchers and product creators don't want to attract any attention to what they're doing because they're not ready for commercial prime time. They're still doing the research. They don't want to create false expectations, and they're afraid that the media is going to cut corners and simplify what they're doing and so forth. And it's a very valid concern, especially in deep tech areas such as quantum technologies or maybe AI still today, and cybersecurity, blockchain, things like that. So researchers, product creators don't want any hype. But what they do want is someone to fund their project, someone to take a big risk and to put money into what they're doing, despite the fact that there's no immediate commercial reward in sight. So this is a risk investment. And countries and companies do risk investments. They make these because the countries feel like they want to compete on the global scale, and they want to stay ahead of the curve. And companies as well, they want to make sure that they have products and services to offer when their current products and services become obsolete. So people are taking a financial risk in order to fund research and science and eventually product creation. So for the government and for these investors, the question arises, where am I going to invest and how much? And how will this particular investment bring ROI to me? How am I getting the return on my investment? And these are questions that need peering into this fuzzy future that's uncertain. You don't really know what's going to happen. So you're trying to find the answers. You're trying to look at current facts, trends, projections, and then you parallel those with your own strategy, and you eventually to decide if this is the path that we're willing to go. But what is always debatable is when you look at the facts and the trends and the projections, are they really the objective truth? Or did you do some kind of selection, unintentionally prioritization, omission? These would influence the outcome. So decision makers have a very difficult task ahead of them. They're betting the taxpayers' money or the shareholders' money into something that's unknown, uncertain. So they need all the help they can get. One of the tools that's been around for over 20 years is the Gartner Hype Cycle. It comes out every year. It prioritizes technologies, places them on this hype curve, and tells you if a certain technology is going up in hype, is it coming down in hype, or is it, and when is it ready for commercial launch to make money, and how long it takes. And the Gartner Hype Cycle is not negative or positive. It just is. They're trying to draw a map of where research and development is is at and where it's heading. And when technologies first appear on the Gartner hype cycle or on any horizon, they're being talked about in very small circles. Perhaps it's a scientific conference where somebody, usually just one person, is able to articulate the beauty and the relevance of this particular invention. Or maybe in a company, it's a team of researchers who have a very persuasive vision, and they're able to convince the management. But what's common with these emerging technologies is that they come with a story. And storytelling holds significant and universal importance to us as humans across cultures throughout history. Stories provide a way for people to share experiences, knowledge, values. They create a joint understanding by simplifying complex concepts and making them more relatable. With a good story, our emotions and imagination get stimulated. We open up to critical thinking, problem solving. We create a sense of purpose with stories. So it's a powerful tool for persuasion and influence. And sometimes the stories of what science can do get legs, and the message might get distorted and distorted, exaggerated. And this is when a large crowd hops on the bandwagon and drive up these false expectations. And that's the bad hype. But sometimes the stories with science get good legs, and the original message resonates with masses, and governments invest in research, in development, and companies invest. You have more university resources, you have college enrollment increases, and businesses put more money in R&D. This is the good hype, and it's needed. So we take inventions that we use currently for granted. We think that, of course, we have nuclear energy. Of course, we have vaccines. Of course, we have the internet, electric cars, and so on. And we think it was inevitable that these inventions came into our life. But actually, how many of these inventions exist because someone at some point of time was able to articulate what it means, to hype it up? And how many inventions were never actually turned into commercial use because the person who created the invention was not able to sell the story, or tell the story, rather. They were not able to create meaning and relevance to what the invention would be doing. So it would become obsolete.